Hello everybody, welcome to the FinTech Times. We're here live at Money 2020 Europe in Amsterdam, and today it's a pleasure to be joined by Neil Harris, the chair of the Inclusion Foundation. Neil, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Thanks for having me, really excited to be here.
Yeah, you enjoying Money 2020?
So far so good, it's been awesome.
It's still early days, we're in
Early days, but
just
even the queue to pick up the pass, millions of people that you see, that you know, and lots of familiar faces that we've not seen for so long. So
we were very lucky. We managed to come yesterday to pick up the passes.
I was a late arrival
to jump the queue a bit. But anyway, Neil, so you're from the Inclusion Foundation. Why don't you tell us a bit about what that is, who it serves, why it exists? Tell us more.
Yeah, so the Inclusion Foundation is a not-for-profit social enterprise. We established it just before the pandemic. Who knew? Who knew? So the real focus of the foundation is around creating access for people to understand better what services are available for them that are inclusive. So we've got three pillars within the foundation. One is around the signposting of new technologies, fintechs, credit unions, basic bank accounts, for individuals to be able to go in and check what's the right solution that fits their bill and their requirements. The second piece is all about thought leadership. So the thought leadership around and education. So thought leadership from an industry perspective. What does an inclusive product look like? How can the industry be better at being inclusive and serving the public at large, but also education of not only the consumer but also government bodies and the regulators as well. We do an awful lot of work with the likes of the Treasury and DWP, and then finally it's about awarding individuals and organisations that are outstanding from an inclusion perspective. So recognising talent and commitment to inclusive products and services. So we're really proud to be able to award that and to recognise those organisations or individuals that provide those services that are needed in the UK today.
Well, that's fantastic. And who would have knew when you set up the company that it would go like this? But yeah, I mean, of course, like financial inclusion is such a hot topic, especially here at Money 2020. It's on everybody's lips. I was just wondering, from a UK perspective, what do you see as the biggest barriers to financial inclusion right now?
Yeah, I think there are many barriers, and that's part of the problem. There's no silver bullet. We believe, and we'll speak about the ebook shortly, but one of the key areas of focus of the ebook is around education. In the UK, we're blessed with a brilliant, vibrant fintech community, over 2,500 fintechs. We're the world leading sort of powerhouse of fintech. What's the purpose of fintech? Is to provide better, inclusive and accessible products to consumers and business. So, we're really, really proud of that. It's a huge industry, 50,000 people employed, something like contribution of £2.4 billion to the UK economy. So it's a big industry. However, we do need to be better. There are still 1.23 million people who don't have a bank account in the UK today. They are totally cash dependent, and as we walk towards a cashless society, which again, the COVID has been a catalyst for that, we have to help those individuals and support them in that transition. It's going to happen, it is happening, and it's super tough if you are entirely cash dependent. So no silver bullet, but education and support is absolutely key, and that's education of the consumer, building up confidence that they can engage digitally, that they can perform their banking services digitally, but also that the benefits of the digital economy as well. There's education of the providers of service. How can we as an industry be better and better serve our consumers? And then education of the regulators, government bodies, really who are creating the mandates and the regulations around how we as an industry should behave. And I do believe there's work to be done there as well.
That's a really fantastic answer. I mean, do you see any disparities in terms of the demographics? I mean, you mentioned that 1.3 million people were unbanked in the UK. Do you notice any identifiable traits within that sort of community?
Yeah, different groups and different segments. I mean, exclusion, as I say, it bears many faces. Some people just don't want to engage because they trust cash. They've always known cash. Cash is the best budgeting tool you could ever wish for. It's accepted by nearly everybody. Less so now in the stores. You know, they are rejecting cash, unfortunately, and that kind of has challenges. The other challenges around the poverty premium, which are well documented, which I won't go into that today. But you know, ultimately, you know, there is a desperate need for those individuals to be helped and assisted in, you know, going through the digital transformation process that is naturally occurring here in the UK.
Well, it's really interesting that you should mention the natural process that's happening right now. Say, for example, I'm unbanked. I'm part of this 1.3 million statistic, right? Where do I start? Because I only use cash. I've never owned a debit card in my life. Where do I start?
It's a really great question, and again, it's, you know, it's not just about financial inclusion, it's also about digital inclusion. If you're digitally excluded, i.e. you don't have access to the internet or to a laptop or computer, then clearly you're already automatically out of the loop for financial inclusion. We've got a thing called the hierarchy of exclusion that we talk about. Right at the top is crisis, and that filters down right at the bottom to be you know, the digital exclusion. So there's a, you know, it's a really tough thing for individuals to kind of get over. Where do they go? There are support networks. There are many charities, including the foundation, who are doing things about you know, providing access and providing visibility and education around inclusive products and services that are available there. I think, you know, Money Saving Expert does a great job in terms of highlighting, you know, Martin Lewis, Money Saving Expert, do a great job in highlighting some of the more mainstream providers, I would say, like credit unions, credit card accounts, basic bank accounts. But as I say, there's 2,500 fintechs in the UK alone that are providing digital access and better financial services access, you know, and inclusive access. So that's really why we created at the foundation Signpost Now. So Signpost Now is the comparison website tool that people are able to go in, plug in their requirements in terms of what they need from their banking service, and then it provides them with a list of applicable providers of that service. You know, there is no other site available like that in the UK. We've got hundreds, something like 1,200 providers on our network so far. Not all of the 2,500, you know, but that also includes credit unions and the basic bank accounts as well. So there's still a lot for us to do. There's still a lot for the industry to do.
And I mean, there's a lot of numbers flying around here about who's active within the industry, and of course they'll all have their own sort of approach to tackling with financial inclusion. But do you think that there is something that the industry could do as a whole to further financial inclusion?
Definitely. I think collaboration is a word that we use a lot in this industry, and that's born of the kind of the family of fintech that we are. And I think the people that make up fintech, we are passionate payments people. And we believe, and we believe with purpose. And I think that's super powerful. Sometimes though, you do need to leave the logo at the door, and that's super tough for certain organisations. Specifically, some of the larger, more established banks, that's super tough because they've got everything to lose, but they've equally got everything to win through collaboration. So I do think there's a need for better collaboration across the board picture, and I know that's been said many times before, but it's still the status quo today. Better collaboration, you know, with a distinct, specific effort and energy targeting how can we, with the many different segments of why people are excluded, whether that's faith-based, because I've got a mental health condition, I'm a prisoner that's just been let out of prison, I'm a refugee or an immigrant. You know, I'm an older person. I'm not digitally active. I'm a younger person. I can't get a bank account. They won't give it. I don't have any credit score. There are many different reasons why people are excluded. If we get our heads together, I believe the solutions are already out there. It's just about connecting those dots. And that's really the key essence of the foundation, is helping connect the dots within industry. But I'll say one last thing, regulation has to come in to kind of force the mandate to make sure that organisations do leave the logo at the door and there is this common purpose. We all have purpose and we all have passion, which is brilliant. We need a common purpose with regards to financial inclusion.
Well, that's the power of partnerships, you know, and it's I think only time will tell if people are really putting their heads together to deal with this issue. I mean, we're in a good location right now. We've got everybody at our fingertips. But we must move on, and I think it would be a real shame if I didn't talk to you about your new ebook, which is called The Network Effect, right?
That's correct, yeah.
So why don't you tell us a bit more about that? What does that say, and what can your readers expect?
Yeah, so the network effect and how digital payments can become a bridge to bridge the gap for financial exclusion. That was really the genesis that was born out of COVID. We've all seen a huge adoption of digital payments in the marketplace, right? The digital banking apps being downloaded for the first time. Over 40% of people who previously hadn't had access to digital banking products have actually downloaded the app for the first time. You know, tremendous wave. So there is a movement already naturally caused by the need by society to access digital services. So we thought it was the right time to whilst there's already awareness of what's going on in the marketplace, there's obviously a great deal of focus around cashless and the fact that, you know, within the COVID environment, people didn't really even want to be touching money because that's you know, there were again some concerns, whether they're right or wrong. There were concerns around that. So there's definitely there's already a focus around that. So we basically got together with some friends of the foundation, so including Marion King, who is the chair of the advisory board at the Payments Association. We had Ron Khalifa, we had Sean Williams. We've had a whole number of individuals who contributed to the piece, who were real thought leaders in their specific field. So, you know, the real genesis was really about linking the matters around digital exclusion and digital inclusion now with the COVID environment, moving towards financial inclusivity, and how do we bridge that gap through digital payments.
Well, Neil, my final question for you. Obviously, we've got 3 really fun days ahead of us. What are you looking to get out of your attendance at Money 2020 this year?
It's going to be a riot. I'm really looking forward to connecting with people. We haven't seen each other for many years, so you know that's going to be a great opportunity just to reconnect. I'm really excited to meet new partners as well. Look at what's changed in the landscape. Like I say, since the last 2 years, the fintech industry has evolved. It's matured. It's grown. It's there were so many new technologies, and I think there's so many organisations that pivoted within the COVID environment, and I think fintech did a really good job. So I'm looking forward to celebrating with the friends of the foundation, to celebrate with my fintech brethren, and really looking forward to reconnecting and finding new partnerships as well.
Well, that's fantastic. Well, we mustn't keep you for a moment longer. But thank you very much for joining us today, Neil. And that was Neil from the Inclusion Foundation. Thank you very much.
Thank you.